Hi. So last summer, my parents actually wanted me to go do an internship at a law firm, which I really didn't want to do. I didn't want to spend a month in front of photocopying and coffee machines. So I asked them if I could work in South Africa and Morocco for volunteer service. And we had a lot of discussions, a lot of arguments, and finally they said, no, you can't do it because it's too dangerous. And so I was like, what to do? What should I do? And then I asked them, okay, fine, if it's too dangerous, can I volunteer in the Israeli army? And he said, sure, go ahead and do it. So, well, this wasn't a completely random decision. A couple of years ago, I met a girl called Vika. She was from Israel. She lived pretty close to the Gaza Strip. And it was from then on that I really got interested in the Middle East, and particularly with Israel. I got really interested in the politics. So I decided to go. But thinking back, it really was quite an irrational and impulsive decision that I made. I really didn't think it through. But I did it in the end. I couldn't back out. A week before I went, actually, I got really nervous. I started freaking out because I realized how much independence it'll take me to go and do it. I didn't have any family or friends over there. I was going to go alone. So it was really daunting to have to go a month in a country, in the army, alone. And I also realized that I was going to be in the extreme minority if I was to go and do it. As I was freaking out, I actually looked at the statistics and found out that I was the first Chinese to ever go there. And on top of that, I was non-Jewish, and I also knew that I was going to be one of the youngest volunteers to go there. So to know that I was sort of going to be different was also unsettling to me. But obviously I had to go. I went there. And some of the most vivid memories that I had was actually during the first week. I was pretty much amazed and fascinated by everything I saw. I remember when I first got there, I actually, after 6 hours of really, really long bus ride, I finally got to the base, and I woke up to this huge row of tanks, Merkava tanks that was stationed, and it just went down, went really far into the desert. Hundreds, and I was actually sleeping right next to them in the barracks. And that was amazing. I remember the first job I did, which was to move around tank shells. I'm not sure if they were loaded or not, but yeah, that was what we were doing. And I was fascinated, overwhelmed by the fact that, these things, bullets, guns, grenade launchers, tanks, fighter jets, they were flying in the crater really, really close to us. And I remember being invited to one of the tanks, actually. It was totally against all the rules, but we did it anyways. And seeing that, we got to see all the sort of different positions. They actually turned on the tank, which was really exciting. They turned on the tank and they showed us where the ammunition was stored. They showed us different positions. They put me where the commander usually sits, which is amazing. And they showed me how the commander sees through in the tank, what the driver does, where the shooter shoots, the computers that they use, and so on. And I remember the first week, I couldn't move this crate. I didn't know why. And luckily I found out it wasn't because of my lack of physical strength, but rather because it was filled to the brim with bullets, M16 bullets, probably this big. And I was told that there were also bigger bullets which were this big. I didn't know what they were, but apparently they were sniper bullets. I had no idea that this was actually what bullets look like. This is what the army was. But then after the first week, everything began to sort of lose their appeal. Things wasn't that fascinating to me anymore. It became normalized, everything. Seeing guns, grenades, tanks rolling around in the desert, having the floor tremble as the tanks did their training exercises, and then as they fired the tank shells, the whole base would be trembling. It all became normal, regular. It wasn't fascinating anymore. And it came to me, and I realized that it is so easy to forget the implications of these things that I was working with and working around. To forget that tanks, guns, grenades, bullets, whatever, that they were designed for purposes of destruction, harm, death. It took me 1 week to forget, to have all these things normalized in my eyes. And it became obvious to me that for people in Israel, for people in societies and countries which are often threatened and often find themselves in conflict, it is so easy for them to normalize warfare, to normalize violence, death, conflict. Everything is so normal to them. And that was probably one of the most valuable lessons, out of many actually, that I gained from this experience. And I also realized that there are so many things, understandings, perspectives, passions, knowledge that you can only gain through experience. And I think that alone justified the fact that I made the decision to go to the Israeli army out of impulse and out of irrationality. I realized that sometimes I cannot sit there and think about the benefits and the consequences, which is often what we're taught to do, especially in economics. You balance out the stakeholder groups and so on. Sometimes you cannot do that. You just have to do more and think less, or even don't think at all. Just go ahead and do it. Go with a blank mind, just do it. And I realized that this is sometimes the best thing to do, because rationality can often breed fear, which is what happened to me. So I've learned that sometimes you've just got to tell yourself, whatever, I'm just going to do it. You've got to tell yourself, you have to make those impulsive, and you have to make those irrational decisions. Thank you.